Hey, hi, hello! It is finally time to get these tomatoes and peppers in a bigger pot. These guys have gotten huge and they're kind of purple, which so from my research, it could either be a phosphorus issue or it's cold. And our garage is about 60 degrees, even though they're under the lights. So hopefully, I think that this stuff has some phosphorus. I don't know. I can always add it in with the fertilizer. They, otherwise, aside from being purple, look so good. My germination rate on all of these was way better than I anticipated. So I didn't get any pineapple tomatillos, which I think are like a ground cherry, but then like the actual thing that was a ground cherry, I got 2 of them. So those are the ones. And then I didn't get any Tabasco or cayenne. So I'll just buy a Tabasco and a cayenne from a nursery, no big deal. But otherwise, very, very great. Like I have over double what I really need. I expected the germination rate to be really poor on these because of how old some of my seeds were. Really good. I do not need this many. I don't know. I'll probably give some away, maybe sell some. We'll see. I am going to get these labeled up so that way, hopefully I can streamline it. I think I said I didn't have, oh, that's I apparently planted, I labeled a row. Oh, okay, I see what happened. I tried to plant 6 Tabascos. I have a lot of cherry tomatoes here. Yeah, none of my Tabascos and none of my cayennes germinated. It looks like almost all of my Romas and the Amish paste and the San Marzano, everything else pretty much germinated. So let me get these labeled up. All right, I now have all of them labeled and ready to go. I will reuse these year after year. I just needed them this first time. This is the first time I've had to use these. I'll rinse them out and probably hand wash them or throw them in the dishwasher. They'll be clean before they go in the dishwasher, but I do think that they need to be sterilized after using them with dirt. So there's some right there, and I guess I'm just gonna get some cups filled up. I realize that I have like 100 plants that need to be potted up. I'm not sure I have enough soil, which not a big deal. I can get more. If you have never planted tomatoes before, I need to take my gloves off because I've definitely just killed that tomato plant. You want to pinch the lower leaves off, and then all of the little hairs on the side of a tomato plant will grow roots. So they're obviously really delicate. This might survive that, we will see. This dirt is not the best. It was definitely the cheapest stuff that they had at Menards, but I'm not loving it. I will definitely have to add some fertilizer and stuff to it. No big deal. We will have these out in the garden soon. These guys are already starting to get a little root bound in there. I feel like they grew so quickly. Probably should have gotten these tomatoes at least potted up a couple weeks ago, a week or 2 ago. No big deal. But the deeper you can plant a tomato plant, the more roots that they can get and the stronger the plant is gonna be. And then when I plant these out in the garden, I'll plant them deep again, just get a real good root system on it. I normally wouldn't have watered these yesterday, but I have not watered them multiple times with the intention of getting to this, and I just never did. So I watered them yesterday, and I have time to do it today, but that is like slop underneath. That is all of my San Marzanos. I'm gonna get those over under the lights just so that way they're off my table and I have more room.
I do end up running out of soil, and honestly, it was probably a blessing in disguise. This stuff was awful. I think it's just like a normal seed starter or something like that. It was awful. I know I pulled out at one point like a baseball-sized clump of clay, And then there was like, it wasn't even like mulch size, it was like full on sticks of wood. And I know that's what you can get into, but the bag that I purchased after this, I think it was like Miracle Grow, and it was so much softer. And like this stuff almost becomes hydrophobic the more I water it. And I just felt like my plants that were in the soil did not thrive the way that I would like for them to, as they did in the other soil. So I definitely recommend looking into the type of soil and not necessarily just buying the cheapest bag on the shelf, even though, I mean, did get the job done. They're growing, but I would like them to be doing better.
One tray done. This is taking forever. I am so tired. It is like 9:30. I'm going to finish it. I don't want to though. But these roots, some of them are like across the entire tray. I did not expect that. So next year, I need to pop them up sooner. And I'm wondering if I can reuse this. I want to get some more seeds, flower seeds planted. I feel like the roots just add natural material. Google said as long as there's no disease or anything, which there shouldn't be yet, like these are still indoor plants. So I think that I'm gonna save this stuff, put it all together so I can do some more seeds, flower seeds. But we'll see what I have room for. My grow lights are already pretty much full, so.
Because I did not expect so many of my seeds to have such a good germination rate, I have probably close to triple the amount of seeds that I actually, or starts that I actually wanted. I think that I ended up with close to 72 tomato plants, which is insane. I don't even have room for 72 tomato plants unless that's all I want to grow. And I could not bring myself to just like kill off the little ones. So even like the seeds that I planted two in a hole, as they were coming up, I like plucked them out and then stuck them in the sides of the soil, and those did really well too. So there were just so many tomatoes, and the fact that I think it was 6 or 8 seeds didn't germinate at all is unheard of. Like I don't even think that that's like a normal germination rate. And then on top of the fact that a lot of my seeds were old, I did not expect this many plants. So next year, I'm definitely going to rein it in a little bit and plant less and hopefully start a little bit earlier to give myself some time to replant or reseed if I need to. Because that is partially why this was taking so long, is it was over 100 plants. It was so many that once it's time to start planting them out, I don't even know what I'm going to do with them. There's just so many seedlings.
Like 70, over 70 tomato plants are now up potted, and then all that's left is these guys. And I have mostly just peppers, but then there are ground cherries and tomato verde, which I think is a tomatillo. I'd have to look at the actual package, but I think it's a tomatillo.
One thing I didn't realize whenever I started my seeds was that tomatillos need another tomatillo plant to pollinate the fruit. So thankfully, I had 4 really good tomatillo plants, but I was just planning on putting one in the garden and just to try it out because we've never grown it. But thankfully, all 4 of them germinated, and I will be able to get them in the garden. So if you did not know that they needed a companion to do that, I just thought that that was a fruit tree thing. I had no idea that there were plants that go in the like not perennials, annuals that would need that. I've never heard of that. I'm sure that there are other plants out there. I'm very new to gardening and the world of plants, so I'm not surprised that I didn't know that. But in case you did not know that, you need to have a companion for your tomatillos.
I am out of dirt. I needed another bag. I will probably just finish this up off camera and I'll show you guys over there. I do have a fertilizer that I'm going to sprinkle on the tomatoes because they definitely need something. Right now, the peppers look okay, so I'm just going to get these regular watered, and then in a couple of days, I'll probably use more fish fertilizer. Everything is back under the lights. I had to put another light down. These are less space efficient, but that's fine. I'm going to use bone meal. It has 15% available phosphorus. So I'm gonna get that on all of the tomato plants and then water them all in. And then hopefully tomorrow or the next couple of days I can get those finished up. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I got these all up potted. I hope I can keep them alive long enough to get them in the ground in about a month. So consider subscribing and following along. Thank you.